the legendary JFK assassination. Now, of course, the JFK assassination has captured the imagination of America for decades as everybody tries to figure out who done it. And as it turns out, a lot of people were right to begin with. It was a combination of the United States and Israel working with their people. And this fella here, whose name I can never, ever remember, Lee Harvey Oswald, they framed this guy pretty much as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of the documents that got released seem to support that theory. But in the process of investigating this, because I'm sure it was very thoroughly investigated, we have investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing.
So he was he was a pacification.
A pacification?
Yeah, they turned Oswald into a patsy.
Patsification.
Yeah, I like my way better because I'm a dyslexicist.
Why is this my life?
It's more funny.
It's all so tiresome.
It's more funny.
After conducting some 25,000 interviews and running down tens of thousands of investigative leads, the FBI found that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Because of course he did.
You know what I would like to do?
What?
Is get my hands on that 6.5 Carcano Italian rifle.
The one supposedly used in the shooting?
No, just a surplus one that was used supposedly in the shooting.
Okay.
And then see if I, as a former sniper, can crack off, 3 shots in 5 seconds and hit a watermelon at 220 yards.
Moving watermelon.
Moving, of course.
At 220 yards.
I believe he was moving away from him, so it's technically not really.
Still got movement there.
Yeah, there's still movement,
but
it's not like, horizontal movement, which is a lot more difficult.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that would be a good video. I should put that.
We should find a way we can do. I wonder if there's a way we can do that.
I believe you have a membership at a shooting range.
I do have a membership at a shooting range, but how would we simulate that?
We have to get a remote control vehicle.
Okay.
And then put a steel target on it.
Okay.
And then have it, start and then, move forward. And then I squeeze off 3 rounds.
Max range on the range that we have is 200.
That's going to be a problem. Yeah. We'll have to work it out. Logistics, of course.
I mean, it's still a hard shot from 150 to 200.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not a huge stretch. That would still make some sense.
Mm-hmm. And then I read part of the files that were released on the JFK.
Sure.
And the KGB reported that he was a terrible shot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oswald was a terrible shot. And this is as per the KGB, who were actually trying to groom him to be an asset in the United States.
That's what they do, though.
Yeah, that's what they do.
That's what I got bumped twice while I was overseas by what we called FIS, Foreign Intelligence Service. At both times, I just walked away. I'm like, yeah, whatever, walked away. But it's not like I'm unique or special or anything. That happened all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows who everybody is, and if you're walking around in the streets unprotected,
you will get approached.
Somebody will try to approach you.
Yep,
it's just how it works. It's not a special thing. It's just a thing that is. Anyway, the Warren Commission, we spent nearly a year carefully studying the assassination. Agreed. Mm-hmm. The Warren Commission report's table of contents includes 8 chapters and 18 appendices. We're not going to go through the entire thing here, obviously, because that's just crazy. But to sum it up, you've got the assassination itself, the shots from the Texas School Book Repository, the assassin, detention and death of Oswald, investigation of conspiracy, Lee Harvey Oswald, background and possible motives, protection to the president, press releases, a public law. Let's take a look at what public law resulted from this assassination, because these are often telling. authorizing the commission established to report upon the assassination of President Trump. The commission.
So there's no laws?
I'm looking for the law part.
They probably didn't.
Against self-incrimination. No person shall be excused from attending and testifying from the... They made a law just for the Warren Commission itself.
Huh.
In December of 1963, which I find unusual. Basically, it says that people testifying will be protected and so on and so forth, but they have to testify and et cetera, et cetera. I was hoping it was... Because this event has similarities to 9/11.
Yep.
Now, had I thought about it, I would have gone back and looked at any laws that occurred around that time, because I'll bet you this event issued in some of the first gun laws and also made it safer for citizens by restricting their rights further, because that's how these events always work.
Well, that's how the left and the right control you, is through fear, as per the SAFE Act.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All of this safety is just to corral you. It never seems to work on the criminals. The Real ID law, by the way, was passed in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read that? I brought it up at one point. I think I read it on a show.
I don't remember. I had to get the enhanced ID card.
I'm not going to get the enhanced ID card. I have no intention of ever flying again.
That's fine. I had to do it because I was in the military.
Oh, because you were in the military. Mm-hmm. That's right. At any rate, that law was passed through Congress in December of 2005 and created the Real ID card, because, a national ID, which is outside of the purview of the federal government to begin with, is very important, because that'll make bad guys not do bad things.
Of course.
If you have a single point of ID that will be put in every single database every time you touch anything at all electronically. Yep. There was a clause in the Real ID Act of 2005 that was never announced.
And what was that?
That clause removed all limitations on immigration.
Really?
Numbers wise.
Well, there you go.
That was 2005. Somehow it dovetails with the whole let's invade all of the white Western countries thing, which is strange.
And who do you think actually was pushing that?
I don't know. Maybe in Davos there are some people there who have Bolshevik tendencies.
There, I said it. Bolsheviks. Bolsheviks. Now drink.
We probably need to not run that video every time I say that, but there's going to be a lot
of drink, you sons of bitches.
Look, the whole thing, I found this. I was living at your house when I found it. So that's 2009, 2008.
9.
Somewhere in there. And I remember finding it going, Pop, you have to see, because it was happening in Germany already. And I found the UN's actual...
That was like at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, what the fuck?
What the fuck is wrong with him now?
Like, what the fuck?
Shut up!
Read this. Okay.
Anyway, the plans for population replacement via immigration were on the UN servers at that time. They've since taken all of that stuff down.
Of course they have.
But it's on archive.is, all of that stuff. And verbatim what was in those plans, which had been on that server, and there were dates on it, back to 1997.
Yeah, so they've been planning this for a while.
Yes. Verbatim, everything in there had begun to happen in Germany. And that's when you're seeing the huge columns of people walking through fields and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people go, it's the conspiracy. It's not happening. And you got literal columns of people walking through fields from foreign countries into Germany.
Yeah.
And people acting like nothing's wrong.
Yeah. Because there's so many sheeple out there. One of the reasons all of this is happening, Because there's so many people out there who look the other way and go, well, it's not affecting me, so I'm just going to ignore
That's
it.
exactly correct.
Or they go, that's just way too much mental gymnastics for me to participate in right now, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck off, man.
People have been dumbed down. People have been dumbed down incredibly. I was talking with my sister who teaches a master's program to executives at a prominent college down in the South, right?
Mm-hmm.
She is getting executives who cannot write. I mean, literally cannot pick up a pen or a dick and write their name.
Oh, you bastard. You got me on that one. You son of a bitch.
And it's ridiculous. And she's like, oh, well, they just nobody writes anymore. And why not?
That's right.
Why not? We learned to write by what, first grade?
What do you think my comedy comes from? Yeah. I have to write it down immediately or I fucking forget it.
Right.
Damn it.
And how does this fit in with the whole conspiracy theory? Well, we're being dumbed down. The conspiracy is nothing's wrong. Everything's fine.
They want everyone to be Spicoli.
Yes, that is exactly correct. In the case of the Warren Commission and all of the stuff around JFK, we all know now that this was just an elaborate circus. Here's the crazy thing, though. If you go to the FBI's tab and click on their link to the records, it's still the records from before the recent 2025 release.
The dump.
It's the BS files.
Well, hang on. The first JFK commission, the paperwork they released was literally not even half of 1% of all of the documents that they do have that they have never shown anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, it's going to be really hard to find the actual smoking gun because they've had 3 generations to sterilize all of those names away.
Yeah. And the people who actually did it are probably dead by this time.
Oh, the guy who pulled the trigger was dead within 72 hours.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not going to keep that guy sucking air.
Yeah. It's like the Vegas shooting. Everybody's like, oh, well, look, 2 things about Vegas. One, obviously, a lot of shit was covered up. 2, Vegas was built by the mob.
Yeah.
That's Lucky Luciano's wet dream.
Mm-hmm.
They built that. Okay, so Vegas is the mob's money printing facility. That's where they make a lot of their money.
Mm-hmm.
So probably a couple of hours after that incident happened, there were a couple of road trips to the desert with shovels.
And I'm sure a lot of cash. You saw nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
testify.
Yeah.
They're still pulling up bodies in steel drums from Lake Mead, so
yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
Something like that goes down, the people who are responsible for it disappeared, and then the people who disappeared, the people responsible, they often get whacked too. Like, oh gosh, I don't know, Mr. Jack Ruby, club owner from Chicago and Dallas, whose real name was Rubenstein.
And what's it, a
Bolshevik?
Drink, baby!
Pop's baiting me now. Anyway, Jack Ruby, nightclub owner in Chicago and Dallas, who mysteriously showed up to shoot Lee Harvey Oswald, he ended up dying in prison as well. And there are several, I believe there were letters or memoranda or records of some kind of him saying that they were trying to kill him the whole time while he was in prison. And then he ended up dying of cancer under mysterious circumstances.
Well, I mean, if you get cancer in prison, you're really not going to get treated.
No, I understand that, but all the circumstances around it were strange.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand, there was a lot of weirdness around his time there as well. But the guy's last name was not Ruby, it was Rubenstein, and Chicago was controlled by a large chunk of Murder Inc. by that point, because Capone hadn't been around in 40 years.
I think Murder Inc. was at the same time as Capone.
Murder Inc. was the same time as Capone, but they controlled New York. The Purple Gang controlled Detroit. Capone never got into Detroit because of the Purple Gang. Purple Gang, coincidentally, is also the ones who shut down Henry Ford.
And they are?
I don't think they were Bolsheviks. They're just criminal syndicate.
I'll just say.
Pop wants to drink tonight. This is like Pop going, I need to get hammered. This is too much. Let's just get shit-faced and get it over with.
Let's just not go full Walt Disney tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Let's not have any Technicolor yawns.
No Technicolor yawns. So then this happened. President Donald Trump orders declassification of the JFK, RFK, MLK assassination files. Now, I'm going to seek to the side here because the MLK ones were funny. Who saw the MLK stuff?
I did look at some of it, but I didn't go into a lot.
He was a drunk, womanizing pig who had gay sex with teenage male prostitutes in Miami on several occasions.
I've read that. Yes.
So much for their great civil rights leader.
All right. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I will say that a lot of the stuff that he did during his time in the public eye needed to happen. Because a lot of...
No. I don't deny that. I'm just saying he wasn't the shining star.
No. He was a shithill like every other evil hairless monkey walking the planet, including myself. Nobody's a good person.
Sex with underage male prostitutes in Miami.
No, I'm a killing fool. But I mean, I'm still nobody's perfect.
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
It just is what it is.
Male prostitutes in Miami.
Hey, look, each his own, I guess.
Let me guess, you were young and you needed the money.
Solid burn.
$20 is $20.
That's right. Slipped that one by the goalie. Providing Americans the truth after 6 decades of secrecy. Today, President Donald Trump signed an executive order entitled Declassification of Records Concerning the Assassinations of, etc., etc. The executive order establishes the policy that more than 50 years after these assassinations, the victims' families and the American people deserve the truth. We still don't have everything. They still haven't released everything. They've released just enough to keep us doing shows like this and talking about it, going, where are the fucking files? Give us the fucking files already.
Yeah, and you know what they need to do? They have the Doge. They should have another group, and all they do is find all of this lost documentation and just release it to the public. And
this is...
Some of the shit that the alphabet agencies have been doing is still classified to this day, 20 plus years on. They need to declassify 30 years on. I'm sorry.
No. I have 3 90-year NDAs.
Wow.
I have 3 90-year NDAs. I don't know who thought at the age of 30 that I was going to live another 90 years, but
I think I had I signed a 7-year and a 30-year. So the 30 years coming up towards the end.
Yeah, they made damn sure there was certain stuff that we can't talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm clear now. I don't know. I'm not fucking with it. I don't need any knocks on the door.
Yeah, don't fuck with that stuff.
No.
Yeah, I'll tell all kinds of stories, but there is certain shit that I just like, let's put that over there.
I've done the same thing. Yeah, I've told some stories where I just go, and I was there and I did this, very limited, and then I just move along.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
went to a place, did a thing. So specifically the order directs the Director of National Intelligence, like he's going to release anything, and other appropriate officials to present a plan within 15 days for the full and complete release of all JFK assassination records, and immediately review the records relating to Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King assassinations, and present a plan for their full and complete release within 45 days. This was released on the 23rd of January, 2025. You'll note that fuck all has really been done.
Correct.
There's a bunch of JFK and MLK files there, but it's just enough for the public to go, see, I told you so. It's like Pop said earlier, everybody's gotten fucking dumb, and they don't realize that this isn't the files that mean anything.
These are not the files you're looking for.
The Martin Luther King gay sex stuff, that's tawdry. It doesn't really apply to the actual assassination, but they knew that. They knew that it would get people going, oh, look at this. I think the guy's a sick bastard, but it still doesn't tell.
That's why I don't care about that particular portion. I want to know, who ordered it, who organized it, who pulled the actual trigger, what happened to the trigger man, how they went about covering it up. I want to know all of the dirty details, because I'm going to tell you right now, once you figure out how stuff is covered up, there's an SOP to that. And if you look at the steps and how it was done, you can actually figure out that SOP.
Yes.
And then you can apply it to other big events and see if it fits.
Yeah.
Like Vegas. Like COVID.
Some little island in the Caribbean where there was a Mossad honeypot.
Yeah.
Won't mention Jeffrey's name, though.
If you do kill somebody. I'm sorry. Now, listen. Now, when he used one of the words, honeypots, okay?
Yeah.
Now, in all of the times, like I had a TS SCI clearance for a majority of my time in the service.
Same.
So did he. And every year, at a minimum, sometimes twice a year, you're going to get your TS clearance, top secret clearance, you're going to get your secret clearance back briefs. And what they tell you during these briefings is, especially if you have a TS clearance, they tell you, okay, we've had so many reports of this going on. And one of the words that they always use is called honeypot. And that's where they have a hot chick or something that's very alluring to try to sway you under their influence and get you to play ball. Plain and simple. We had Dick, was it Swalswell or whatever? That one senator who had a Chinese spy.
Eric Swalwell.
Eric Swalwell.
Fang Fang.
Fang Fang.
Mr. I just shit myself on live TV that was banging Fang Fang.
Yeah, he was literally in the Intel committee, and he was sharing a bed with a honeypot spy.
Feinstein's Chinese driver
Yep.
was a Chinese spy.
Yeah. And nothing
was done about it.
Nothing happened to these people.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in the service and you get tricked into some honeypot bullshit and you take a picture you're not supposed to take a picture of, and it breaks OBSEC, you are going to prison.
Yep.
More often than not, they'll plead it down, but you're still going to do 24 to 36 months in some federal clink somewhere.
I know a guy who did a year just for looking at shit that wasn't in his packet.
Yeah.
Lost his clearance, got a year.
Yep.
Just for looking at stuff that wasn't in his packet. This is back in the late 90s.
Yeah. They don't fuck around with that shit. If you're a normal person,
you're screwed.
Like if a normal, like, say, Army officer pulled the same shit that Hillary Clinton did with her server and the phones, he'd be getting 20 to 30 years to life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He'd be breaking big rocks into little rocks.
And this is the part that why we're covering the show. It's just infuriating me that people who do this kind of shit are getting a fucking pass. And it needs to fucking stop. I mean, I keep swearing.
I know.
I'm
There's
gonna
been
get
a lot
spun
of
up.
We're over past that line already.
I gotta start drinking.
We're past that line already. Sorry.
All right, hang on. Let's see what we got going on here.
What do we got going on where?
I'm looking to see. Okay.
What are you looking at?
The count we have. All right, I'm going to give out the briefing.
Do that.
All right. We've been demonetized beyond all rhyme and reason here at this show. We're making roughly 11% of what we used to make in 2015. And every little bit helps us keep this ball rolling forward. We're already operating on less than a shoestring budget. So any bit you can send in to help this information train running along goes a long way. And second half is we are going to have a little bit of a format change starting in May. We're going to add some different segments to the shows and whatnot. Blake is rotating out at the end of the month. He's going to still be there for like movie nights and so forth and give technical expertise. But he's got a son who's 11 years old now, and he wants to spend more time with his kid. That's why we do this, to keep people from, sucking on the shotgun and helping guys get more time with their kids. So that's what's going on. All right. So I just thought I'd put that out there. All right. Let's continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. What are you apologizing for?
Well, just is what it is.
Knock it off.
All right.
All right.
Let us continue.
Declassification of records concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., January 23rd, 2025. This is the actual order right here, and I need to get all of these links to Jimmy. This show kind of came together on the fly because something else that we were working on actually fell through and turned out to be a false flag.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. So
It happens.
We actually do screen stuff like that for you guys. If we find something and it turns out to be a false flag, we're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We're not going to lead you down the bullshit rabbit hole.
Yep. And as soon as I get the links from Battledorf there, I will have them posted up on the website so that you guys can click on them, take a gander at them, and read at your pleasure.
And boom goes the dynamite.
And boom goes the what?
Yeah. Boom goes the dynamite. And if you guys are not aware, we're up to 562 now.
Oh, yeah.
We added another one last week.
Yeah, that's correct.
So just think about that. That is over a battalion of men.
Yes.
And that's an infantry battalion, which is, 3 companies plus headquarters.
Yep. True story. So I made sure to get a notepad started so that I don't forget when this is when we're done here.
Unfuck yourself.
I have unfucked myself. Unfucking this whole executive order here releasing this information, previously accepted proposed redactions from executive departments and agencies in 2017, 2018, but ordered continued reevaluation of those remaining documents. Basically, the way that you can tell that our government is deeply involved in this assassination is their reluctance to release the information. If this was a single former Marine who was court-martialed twice, imprisoned once, in the Marine Corps, who got out of the Marine Corps, defected, and moved to Minsk, Russia, where he married a Russian,
Mm-hmm.
and then came back to Dallas,
it'd be all over
just
the place.
in time
to
do these things, they'd be all over releasing this information.
It would have
fact
been done.
that they have stonewalled all of this time
Uh-huh.
tells you that the government is directly involved. When you've got a situation like this, that's what to look for. If the government won't give you the information on something like this, they're somehow involved.
I would say they are incredibly involved, to be honest with you.
There are paths of involvement.
Well, one, we had the Bay of Pigs, and Kennedy at the last minute was like, no air support. Without air support, it was going to fail.
They got slaughtered.
And then they wanted to go to Vietnam, and JFK was like, I don't want to get into a big war.
We had already been in Vietnam.
I know he didn't want to escalate it though.
Yes. Okay.
He did not. He wanted to keep the special forces there, keep it on the smaller side.
That started in 1953.
I know.
At Dien Bien Phu with.
But it was very
Ho Chi
small.
Minh and the French. Yep.
But what happened as soon as
we had a couple of advisors there.
As soon as he got his brain ventilated, boom.
Yeah.
They went
escalation.
Crazy with that. There was divisions upon divisions. Then they started the fucking.
Interestingly, Kennedy was the one who authorized the Green Beret.
Yes.
Right before he was shot. Like the year before he was shot.
There's still a what is that? I think it's at Arlington. There's a torch that burns.
There's the torch at Arlington, and then the SWCC is named after him.
Yes.
The JFK SWCC.
Yes.
The Special Warfare Center, where the Green Berets learn all sorts of fun things. I got to see where the engineers learn how to do all the framing and weird. There's a warehouse. A huge warehouse where they can build houses and tear them down and everything inside the warehouse so that nobody can see what they're doing.
Yeah, but look, the engineers.
There's a bunch of other stuff that goes with it, but that's
the funnest part about the engineers is watching them blow shit up.
Yes,
because they are really good at that.
Yes,
that is their job.
Yes. Well, I was stationed on Korea. The Imjin River would freeze in the wintertime, and it would freeze thick enough that you could roll a Russian tank across it.
Really? 6 feet, huh?
Yep.
That's a lot of ice.
So while we were forward, we would rotate 3-month rotations. When we were forward, we would take lawn chairs with us in the wintertime.
Oh.
and the engineers would go out there with satchel charges to blow up the ice, and they would throw the satchel charges out onto the ice.
Uh-huh.
They'd throw the charge, it would blow up, poof, ice, water everywhere. We would hold up numbers.
They're doing that to weaken the ice so they could not drive a tank across.
That's correct. That's correct. And if the explosion wasn't, we'd hold up like a 5, and they'd be like, "Oh, come on!" But Kennedy didn't want the Vietnam War escalating. He didn't want to give nuclear weapons to the Israelis. He wanted to go after the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. There were a couple of other things that he was trying to do. He knew that the deep state existed then. We just didn't call it the deep state at the time. And as a result of that, it is my belief, based on a lot of the documents that we can see now too, but prior to that, it was pretty obvious that he was popped deliberately by our own government, and nobody was ever hanged for that.
Opt. Yes. He definitely got a JFK haircut.
Yes.
Little off the top.
Yes.
In fact, I want it so low, my wife has to pick it up off the back of the trunk.
Yes.
And as an 18 Bravo, I've shot, I don't know how many rounds of ammunition in my career. I have seen the after effects of what bullets do. I've seen all kinds of, crazy scenarios play out where there's shootings and all this, that whole craziness. I have never seen one bullet hit somebody, stop on a dime, and then hit 2 other people. It's never fucking happened.
Weren't you the one who told me about the guy who took a round to the wrist and it came out his neck, and he wasn't actually, he was like tore up, but
it didn't kill him.
Right.
Yeah. But it didn't hit anyone else.
Yeah.
It didn't go through him and then
hit the other 2 people,
turn on a dime and get a guy over. No, it didn't happen.
Doesn't do that?
No.
It's not a thing?
No, there was more than one shooter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They probably had a professional who was...
Well, it looks like the bodyguard in the front seat turned around and shot him.
You think so?
From the video clip.
Okay.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.